Hello, guys. This is Murderous Mondays because today's Monday with your host, Michael, meaning me. And what's up? On this channel, Murderous Mondays, I talk about serial killers and I upload every Monday, hence the name. And the next serial killer that I'll be talking about. Now, remember last week I said he killed 49 prostitutes, but wanted to make it an even 50, but got caught. And he's from Canada. Well, today we're going to be talking about Robert Pickton. Who was he? What was his early life like? And why and how did he become so evil? I will answer that and more in this video as I take you down the perspective mind of a serial killer. Dun dun dun. Alright. Robert William Pickton, born October 24th, 1949, also known as the Pig Farmer, Killer, or the Butcher, is a Canadian serial killer, serial rapist, former pig farmer, and possible cannibal, who is suspected of being one of the most prolific serial killers in Canadian history. After dropping out of school, Pickton left a butcher's apprenticeship to begin work full-time at his family's pig farm. He is believed to have begun his murders in the early 1990s. However, no, begun his murders in the early 1990s after inheriting the farm. He was arrested in 2002 and was convicted in 2007 of the second-degree murder of 6 women, and was also the subject of a lengthy investigation that yielded evidence of numerous other murders. Now, remember that in the last video, the hint was that he killed the people. He was founded in like the late 90s, right? So he could potentially be out like this year or so, right? Because Canada is very lenient. It's only like 25 years to life, and then you get paroled. Well, he did not actually get caught until 2007. So 25 years, that makes it 2032. My phone's ringing, I don't care. My phone's ringing, I don't care really, so. Pickton was charged with the deaths of an additional 20 women, many of them from Vancouver's downtown east side, but these charges were stayed by the Crown in 2010. Pickton was sentenced to life in prison with no possibility of parole for 25 years, which was the longest possible sentence for second-degree murder under Canadian law at the time he was sentenced. During the trial's first day of jury evidence, the Crown stated that Pickton had confessed to 49 murders to an undercover agent from the police officer of the Inspector General who was posing as a cellmate. The Crown reported that, so the Crown is probably some kind of documentary or like newspaper ad or something. The Crown reported that Pickton told the officer that he wanted to kill one more woman to make it an even 50, and that he was only caught because he was, quote, sloppy, end quote. Early life and criminal history in Port Coquitlam. Robert Pickton was born to Leonard Francis Pickton. From 1896 to 1997, he was born and died. And Louise Helene Arnold. From 1912 to 1979, she was born and died. A pig family of pig farmers. Wait. A family of pig farmers in Port Coquitlam, British Columbia, 27 kilometers or 17 miles from east of Vancouver. Pickton's older sister, Linda Louise Wright, was sent off to live with relatives in Vancouver, as their parents thought that the family pig farm would be an inappropriate setting to raise a young girl. Robert and his younger brother, David Francis Pickton, began working at the farm at an early age, and his mother was very demanding, prioritizing the pigs over her own, even her own um sons, over the brothers' personal hygiene. I was very demanding and prioritizing the pigs' hygiene over her own son's hygiene, and forcing them to work long hours raising the farm's livestock. She often sent them to school in unwashed, dirty clothes, reeking of manure, and earning the brother's nickname Stinky Piggy from the classmates. Pickton was strongly attached to his mother, and he had little interaction with his abusive father. Pickton struggled in school, being put in a special class after failing the second grade. At the age of 12, Pickton began raising a calf, which became his beloved pet. 2 weeks later, after failing to find it after school, he was told to check the barn, where he was heartbroken to find it slaughtered. Aw. I forgot a little disclaimer actually. Um, if you guys don't want to hear about rape or uh, well, I kind of basically said it in when I was doing it. When I said Canadian serial killer, serial rapist, former pig farmer, and possible cannibal. So if you guys don't like that, I would suggest leave. Um, I should have said it before, but yeah. Okay. Anyway, continue on. He dropped out of school in 1963 and began working as a meat cutter. He continued to do so for nearly 7 years before leaving to work full-time at the farm. In 1994 and 95, Pickton and his two siblings inherited the family pig farm, selling parts of their inherited land and earning a whopping total of $5.16 million. Worker Bill Hiscox called the farm a creepy-looking place, patrolled by a 600-pound boar, and described Pickton as a pretty quiet guy, hard to strike up a conversation with, whose occasionally bizarre behavior, despite no evidence of substance abuse, would draw attention. On March 23rd, 1997, Pickton was charged with with the attempted murder, excuse me, of prostitute Wendy Lynn Istetter, whom he had been who she had been stabbed several times during an altercation at the farm. Wendy had informed police that Pickton had handcuffed her, but that she had escaped. Okay, so she escaped, suffering several lacerations. She told them that she had disarmed him and stabbed him with his weapon. Pickton sought treatment at Eagle Ridge Hospital, where Estetter recovered at the nearest emergency room. He was released on a $2,000 bond, and the attempted murder charge against Pickton was stayed on January 27th, 1998. I don't know why I'm so tired today. Mm, I was hanging out with my friend's kids, so yeah. Um, Estetter had drug addiction issues, and prosecutors believed her also unstable for her testimony to help secure a conviction. Furthermore, wait, so that means that if police officers took Wendy Lynn Estetter seriously and did not think that she was drugged, they would have kept they would have made sure that Robert Pickton wouldn't have killed anymore, but yet he killed 40. Well, well, 49 he killed, so Wendy was probably going to be 50 if she died, I think. Alright, so anyway, furthermore, testimony to help secure a conviction. Wait, wait, furthermore, David Pickton. Sorry, I was reading the sentence above it. Furthermore, David Pickton was convicted of sexual assault in 1992, being fined for Canadian dollars $1,000 and given 30 days probation. In that case, the victim told police that David had attacked her in his trailer at the pig farm, but she managed to escape. Pickton had also been sued 3 times for traffic offenses in 1988 and 1991, settling all 3 claims out of court. The Pickton brothers were eventually sued by Port Coquitlam officials for violating zoning ordinances, neglecting the agriculture for which it had been zoned, and having altered a large farm building on the land for the purpose of holding dances, concerts, and other recreations. Alright. They had begun to neglect the site's farming operations and registered a non-profit charity for the Piggy Palace Good Time Society. I know, man, good times. But bad times. Because, he killed them. Um, the Piggy Palace Good Time Society with the Canadian government in 1996, claiming to organize, coordinate, manage, and operate special events, functions, dances, shows, and exhibitions on behalf of service organizations, sports organizations, and other worthy groups. Its events included raves, r- part included wild parties featuring Vancouver sex workers and gatherings in a converted slaughterhouse on the farm at 953 Dominion Avenue in Port Coquitlam, British Columbia. Canada. Wait, Vancouver, Canada, I think. These events, these events attracted as many as 2,000 people, and members of the Hells Angels were known to 2,000 people and members of the Hells Angels were known to frequent the farm, to frequently be at the farm. Hells Angels, if you guys don't know, it's a biker gang. They ride like motorcycles and are in gangs and stuff. Subsequently, the Pickton brothers ignored growing legal pressure and held a 1998 New Year's Eve party, after which they were faced with an injunction banning further parties. The police were authorized to arrest and remove any person attending future events at the farm. The society's non-profit status was removed the following year for inability to produce financial statements, and it was subsequently disbanded. Now, discovery and investigation. On February 6, 2002, police executed a search warrant for illegal firearms at the Pickton property. Both Pickton brothers were arrested, and police obtained a second warrant using what they had seen on the property to search the farm as part of the BC British Columbia missing woman investigation. Personal items belonging to missing women were found at the farm, which was sealed off by members of the joint RCMP, Vancouver Police Department Task Force. I don't know how that's an acronym for that, but okay. The following day, Pickton was charged with weapon offenses. Both of the Picktons were later released. However, Robert Pickton was kept under police surveillance. On February 22nd, 2002, so not even a month later, only like 2 weeks, only like 2.5 weeks later, Robert Pickton was arrested and charged with 2 counts of first-degree murder in the deaths of Serena Abotsway and Mona Wilson. On April 2nd, 2002, 3 more charges were added for the murders of Jacqueline McDonald, Diane Rock, and Heather Bottomley. A sixth charge of for the murder of Andrea Josbury was laid on April 9th, 2002, followed shortly by a seventh of Brenda Wolfe. On September 20th, 4 more charges were added for the slaying of Georgina Papin, Patricia Johnson, excuse me. On September 20th, 4 more charges were added for the slayings of Georgina Papin, Patricia Johnson, Helen Hallmark, and Jennifer Firminger. Another 4 more charges for the murders of Heather Chinnock, Tanya Holick, Sherry Irving, and Igna Hall were laid on October 3rd, bringing the total number to 15 murders. On May 26, 2005, 12 more charges were laid against Pickton for the killings of Cara Ellis, Andrea Borhaven, Deborah Lynn Jones, Marnie Frey, Tiffany Drew, Kerry Koski, Sarah D. Rives, Cynthia Felix, Angela Jardine, whatever. Another Wendy. Well, not dead, the first Wendy, but Wendy Crawford, Diana Melnick, and Jane Doe, which was, I don't think her name was actually Jane Doe. I think it might have been a Jane Doe case. Although it could be, just her actual name, Jane Doe, which would be very, um, which would be very, I don't know. Bring the total number of first degree murder charges to a 27. And sorry if I butchered any of the names. I I respect and I don't want any these are people that these are women that passed away for by murdered and basically put in the meat grinder and fed to his pigs. So I'm sorry if I said your name wrong. Said any of you guys' name wrong. Any of you guys' names are wrong. Yeah, so excavations continued at the farm through November 2003. The cost of the investigation is estimated to have been $70 million by the end of '03. According to the prov- provincial government, the property is currently fenced off, underlined by the Crown of Rights of British Columbia. In the meantime, all the buildings on the property, except a small barn, had been demolished. Forensic analysts proved difficult because the bodies may have been left to decompose or eaten by insects and pigs on the farm. See, so that's why I said that they got slaughtered and fed to pigs. During the early days of these excavations, forensic anthropologists brought in heavy equipment, including two 50-foot, aka 15-meter, flat conveyor belts and soil sifters to find traces of human remains. On March 10th, 2004, the government revealed that Pickton may have ground up human flesh and mixed it with pork that he sold to the public. So, with this being in mind, did he also slaughter his pigs too to make the pork? Or did he actually buy it from the slaughterhouse, from the butcher? The the province's health authority later issued a warning. Another claim another claim was made that he fed the bodies directly to his pigs, but in 2003, a preliminary hearing was held, and the clothes and rubber boots that Pickton had been wearing during the Easter assault were seized by police from an RCMP storage locker. In 2004, lab testing showed that DNA of two women, they just see their last names, Borhaven and Ellis, were on the items. Excuse. Alright, now we go to trial. Dun 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 dun. Dun 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 dun. Dun 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 dun. Pickton's trial began on January 6th. No, January 30th, sorry. January 30th, 2006. In Westminster. In New Westminster. Excuse me. Pickton pleaded not guilty to the 27 charges of first-degree murder in the Supreme Court of British Columbia. The Voir dire, which I never heard of that, Voirdie, R-E. It's probably some kind of French. But the voir dire phase of the trial took most of the year to determine what evidence might be admitted before the jury. Reporters were not allowed to disclose any of the material presented in the arguments. On March 17th, 2006, I think. Well, it's in almost a year, so maybe 2007, I don't know. One of the counts was rejected by Justice James Williams for the lack of evidence, and on August 9th, Justice Williams severed the charges, splitting them into one group of 6 counts and another group of 20 counts. The trial proceeded on the group of 6 counts. The remaining 20 counts were stayed on August 10th, 2010, which I think the word stayed in this case probably meant that, like, they would look into it that day. Like, that day, they would, see whether or not he's guilty for those charges. Because of the publication ban, full details of the decision were not made publicly available, but Justice Williams explained that trying all 26 charges at once would put an unreasonable burden on the jury, as the trial could have lasted up to 2 years. It would also have increased the possibility of mistrial. The initial date for the jury trial on the first 6 counts was January 8th, 2007, but it was postponed until January 22nd. On that date, Pickton faced first-degree murder charges and in the deaths of Frey, Abotsway, Happen, Joesbury, Wolfe, and Wilson. The media ban was eventually lifted, and the details of what was found during the investigation were publicly released. During Pickton's trial, lab staff testified that about 80 unidentified DNA profiles, roughly half male and half female, have been detected on evidence. A loaded .22 revolver with a dildo, which I don't know how that gets involved, over the barrel, and 1 round fired, boxes of .357 Magnum handgun ammunition, night vision goggles, 2 pairs of Fawkes fur-lined handcuffs, a syringe with 3 milliliters of blue liquid inside, and Spanish fly aphrodisiac were found inside Pickton's trailer. In a videotaped recording played for the jury, Pickton claimed to have attached the dildo to his weapon as a makeshift silencer. This explanation was impractical at best, as revolvers are near impossible to silence in this manner. Also, a videotape was shown of Pickton's friend, Scott Chubb, saying Pickton had told him a good way to kill a female heroin addict was to inject her with windshield wiper fluid. A second tape was played for Pickton, in which an associate named Andrew Bellwood said Pickton mentioned killing sex workers by handcuffing and strangling them, then bleeding and gutting them before feeding them to pigs. Photos were shown of the contents of a garbage can found in Pickton's slaughterhouse, which held some remains of victim Mona Wilson. On December 9th, 2007, the jury found Pickton not guilty on 6 counts of first-degree murder, but he was found guilty on 6 counts of second-degree murder. On December 11th, 2007, after reading 18 victim impact statements, British Columbia Supreme Court Judge Justice James Williams sentenced Pickton to life with no possibility of parole for 25 years, the maximum punishment for the second-degree murder, and equal to the sentence which would have been imposed for a first-degree murder conviction. Mr. Pickton's conduct was murderous and repeatedly so. This is what this guy said. He said, Mr. Pickton's conduct was so murderous and repeatedly so. I cannot know the details, but I know this. What happened to them, the victims, was senseless and despicable, said Justice James in passing the sentence. Now we go to the victims. Wait. First we go to British Columbia Court of Appeal. Crown Appeal. On January 7th, 2008, the Attorney General filed an appeal in the British Columbia Court of Appeal against Pickton's on January 7th, 2008, the Attorney General filed an appeal in the British Columbia Court of Appeal against Pickton's acquittals on the first-degree murder charges. The grounds of appeal related to a number of evidentiary rulings made by the trial judge. Certain aspects of the trial judge's jury instructions and the ruling to sever the 6 charges Pickton was tried on from the remaining 20. Although Pickton had been acquitted on the first-degree murder charges, he was convicted of second-degree murder and received the same sentence as he would have on first-degree murder convictions. The relatives of the victims expressed concern that the convictions would be jeopardized if the Crown argued that the trial judge had made errors. Opposition critique. Leonard Krog criticized the Attorney General for not having briefed the victims' families in advance. Wally Opal apologized to the victims' families for not informing them of the appeal before it was announced to the general public. Opal also said that the appeal was filed largely for strategic reasons and anticipation of any appeal by the period for the Crown to appeal expired 30 days after December 9th, where the verdicts were rendered, while the time period of the defense to appeal expired 30 days after December 11th, when Pickton was sentenced. Defense appeal. On January 9th, 2008, lawyers for Pickton filed a notice of appeal in the British Columbia Court of Appeal seeking a new trial on 6 counts of second-degree murder. The notice of appeal enumerated various areas in which the defense alleged that the trial judge erred. The main charge to the jury, the response to the jurors' questions, amending the jury charge, similar fact evidence, and Pickton statements to the police. Now, decisions of the Court of Appeal. The British Columbia Court of Appeal issued its decisions on June 25th, 2009, but some parts of the decisions were not publicly released because of publication bans, because they were still in effect. Excuse me. The Court of Appeal dismissed the defense appeal by a 2-to-1 majority due to a dissent on a point of law. Pickton was entitled to appeal the Supreme Court of Canada without first seeking leave to appeal. His notice of appeal was filed in the Supreme Court of Canada on August 24th, 2009. The Court of Appeal allowed the Crown appeal, finding that the trial judges erred in excluding some evidence and in severing the 26 counts into one group of 20 counts and one group of 6. The order resulting from this finding was stayed so that the conviction on the 6 counts of second-degree murder would not be set aside. Now we go to the victims. Last but not least, the victims. And these, I know that they said that they had 49 victims, right? Well, this is the only victims that they're sure that he killed. Obviously, he committed to 49. He said that he committed to 49. Well, it could very easily be, oh wait, dang it. It could very easily be, I don't know how much they were, but yeah. But, so victims. On December 9th, 2007, Pickton was convicted of second-degree murder in the deaths of 6 women. Count 1. Serena Abatwe, 29. She was 29. She was missing on August 22nd, 2001. Mona Lee Wilson, 26. Reported missing on November 30th, 2001. Andrea Josberry, 22, was reported missing on June 8th, 2001. Brenda Ann Wolf, 32, was reported missing on April 25th, 2000. Count 11, Georgina Faith Papin, 34, was reported missing in March of 2001. Marnie Lee Ann Frey, 24, was reported missing on December 29th, 1997. So this was probably his first. No, wait, there was one more that was 97. Actually, no, wait, there's actually one that was 96. Alright, hold on. Pickton also stood accused for the first-degree murder in deaths of 20 other women until these charges were stayed on August 4th, 2010. Alright, so here's what it was. He said that he committed 49 victims to the undercover cop in prison, right? But they only charged him with 26. Alright, alright. So anyway, Jacqueline Michelle McDonnell, 22, was reported missing on January 16th, 1999. Diane Rosemary Rock, 34, was reported missing on December 13th, 2001. Heather Kathleen Bottomley, 27, was reported missing on April 17th, 2001. Jennifer Lynn Firminger, 28, was reported missing on December 27th, 1999. Helen May Hallmark, 20, was reported missing on June 15th, 1997. Patricia Rose Johnson, 25, was reported missing on January 2nd, 2001. Heather Gabriel Chinook, 30, was last seen in April of 2001. Tanya Hoylk, 23, was reported missing on November 3rd, 1996. So that actually might have been the first victim, Tanya Hoylk, in 96. Sherry Leigh Irving, 24, was reported missing on February 22nd, 1997. Igna Monique Hall, 46, wow, she was an old one, well, older, was last seen in February of 98. Tiffany Louise Drew, 27, was reported missing on December 31st, 1999. Sarah Jean de Veris, 29, was last seen in April of 98. Cynthia or Cindy Felix, 43, was last seen in December 1997. We're almost done. Yeah, a couple more. Angela Rebecca Jardine, 27, was reported missing on November 20th, 1998. Diana Melnick, 23, last seen in December 95. Count 22, Mission Jane Doe, discovered on yes, I think it was a Jane Doe case. Discovered on February 25th, 1995. Pickton refused to enter a plea deal on the charge involving this victim, known in the proceedings as Jane Doe. So the court registered a not guilty plea on his behalf. The count as drawn fails to meet. He said the count as drawn fails to meet the minimum requirement sent set out in section 581 of the Criminal Code. Accordingly, it must be squashed, wrote Justice James Williams. The detailed reason for the judge's ruling cannot be reported in Canada is because of the publication ban covering the stage of the trial. So now we have more. Deborah Lynn Jones, 42, was last seen in December of 2000. Wendy Crawford, 43, was last seen in December of 1999. Carrie Lynn Koski, 38, was reported missing on January 7th, 1998. Andrea Faye Borhaven, 25, was last seen in March of 97. Count 27, Cara Louise Ellis, 25, was reported missing on January 21st, 1997. Pickton is implicated in the murders of the following women, but charges have not been laid. Mary Ann Clark, 25, disappeared in August 1991. Yvonne Marie Bowen, 33, was reported missing on March 16, 2001. And last but not least, Dawn Teresa Cray was last seen in December 2000 after Pickton was arrested. Witness Lynn Ellingson came forward to authorities claiming to have seen Pickton skinning a woman, hanging her from a meat hook years earlier, and that she did not tell anyone about it of fear of losing her life. Additionally, Ellingson admitted that she blackmailed Pickton about the incident on more than one occasion. The victims' children filed a civil lawsuit in May 2013, according against the Vancouver Police Department. The Royal Canadian Mounted Police and the Crown for failing to protect the victims. They reached a settlement in March of 2014 where each of the children was to be compensated with, in Canadian dollars, $50,000 without any admission of liability. Now, that was it for Robert Pickton. Excuse me. The pig farmer, serial killer, rapist, cannibal person. And I thank you guys for listening. If you can please. Oh wait, hold on. I didn't give you guys a hint of what my next video will be about. Alright. So here are a pair of twins. I think they're twins. I'm not positive, but I think they're twins. Um they killed their parents and and because of insurance money and their life, the money that they get when they die. And they spent it on a basketball game where they were courtside seats, and they were actually seen in on a basketball card of a basketball player. I think Mark Johnson, I think, but Mark with a Q, I think. I'm not positive. But you can literally see them literally in the background, like just fans, but literally they killed their parents like just like days before. All right, so yeah, so if you guys want to check that out next week, that'll be next Monday around this time. Yeah, it's around this time, maybe a little earlier. So please like, comment, subscribe, and I'll catch you guys on my next video. See you guys later. Peace. Remember, always stay on the lookout. Never be murderous. Peace.